A breaking story tonight in the Toronto area involving a massive police sweep, a series of raids.
Used to describe that alleged terrorist plot to attack a number of sites in southern Ontario.
This group posed a real and serious threat. It had the capacity and intent to carry out these acts.
I was with them every day for several months. I know them intimately. And indeed, there are among them those who, without hesitation, will take life.
Canadians never thought terrorism would come to their shores until last year, when a group of 18 young men were arrested for allegedly planning a series of daring attacks. But it was one aspect of that case which sparked intense debate: the role of a young man who infiltrated the group as a spy. This is The Spy. Meet Mubin Shaikh.
Well, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that a stronger Muslim is better than a weaker Muslim, because not only can the Muslim defend himself, but others as well.
He's campaigned for the introduction of Sharia law for the Muslims of Toronto, but Mubin Shaikh is a fundamentalist with a difference.
I believe in the basics of Islam, yeah. But when people, their association that it's extremism, then I don't accept that. And one line I really like is putting the fun in fundamentalism. Yeah, so.
A radical who spied on fellow Muslims, he's now having to fight back against critics within his own community.
The notion of a person who rats as a hero is not part of the Muslim psyche or part of any national psyche. So, because of Mubin Shaikh, the terrorist suspects have become heroes. That's the great disadvantage.
Born and raised in Toronto to a family of immigrant Indian Muslims, Mubin Shaikh went off the rails in his teenage years.
The fast lane was too slow for me. I got my tattoos, got into heavy metal, and it was really wild.
Then he found God.
I made a promise to God that I would keep the beard and the robe because I knew the gutter from which I came, right?
It was dramatic arrests across the Atlantic in Britain in 2004 that put Mubin Shaikh on the path to becoming a spy. A group of British Muslim men were charged with plotting to blow up fertiliser bombs in nightclubs and shopping centres. They were convicted this year. Arrested in Canada was Mubin Khawaja, alleged to be the detonator expert who'd helped the British plotters. He was a childhood friend of Mubin Shaikh. When he heard of his arrest, Mubin Shaikh contacted the Canadian Intelligence Service, CSIS.
I called CSIS, the intelligence, and I said, look, I know the family and there must be a mistake. I was in shock.
Sensing his potential usefulness, CSIS asked him if he'd work for them as an informer.
They recognized the standing that I had in the community and the connections that I had. Access that I had. That's their concern, was access. And so when they put to me the prospect, I accepted. I just couldn't let anything happen on my watch, not in my home. How was I going to run away? I'm born and raised in Toronto. Toronto is my home.
What Canadian intelligence needed was information on a group of young Canadian Muslims they'd been watching online. They were using password-protected chat rooms to discuss jihad, including with a man in London calling himself Abu Dujana, real name Tariq Al-Dur. He was convicted in an unrelated case this summer of inciting murder over the internet. The Canadians he was in contact with watched jihadi videos exhorting acts of violence against the West. Mubin Shaikh was tasked by his CSIS handlers with getting close to the men. It didn't take long. He'd been an army cadet in his teenage years, and one evening he showed the men his license to carry a gun.
Their eyes just like, boof, whoa. So as soon as they saw that, both of them just are like, you know, brother, let's have a talk. So we went off to the side, and they were just telling me, you know, they were recruiting me. They were recruiting me, and, you know, I kind of said, okay, you know, took a little bit of convincing, right? And I was in. Simple.
He was in as a trainer. He drove the men to an isolated area 2 hours north of Toronto for a 10-day training camp. It was here in these woods that Mubin Shaikh trained the group of alleged jihadists, conducting mock combat exercises, training them in marksmanship. But what the group didn't know was that they were under constant surveillance, with Canadian police photographers all around them.